Good morning slash afternoon, everyone. My name is Amy Girdler, and today I will be presenting a persuasive speech on the fundamentals of why eating meat is unsustainable. This is Jane Goodall. She is a very popular conservationist. This is a quote that she has stated. The hardest part of returning to a truly healthy environment may be changing the current, totally unsustainable, heavy meat eating culture of increasing numbers of people around the world. But we must try. We must make a start one by one. Why is this relevant? This is relevant because the heavy meat eating culture that we live in is affecting the planet, and therefore it's affecting everyone. The earth is our only home. I have been a vegetarian since August of 2020, so this is a topic that means a great deal to me, and I wanted to share some facts, some unknown facts about this topic. The ever-increasing consumption of meat is a poor use of our finite resources and is rapidly escalating climate change and destroying biodiversity. Therefore, I propose adjustments be made in your eating habits, whether that means cutting it out entirely or minimizing the amount of meat you consume. That said, let's dive into the problematic nature of meat production. It is a poor use of our resources. It takes up a lot of land and water. If you take a look here, I have a chart of the amount of water it takes to produce 1 pound of food. If you take a look here on the very far left, vegetables is the smallest one at 39 gallons of water to make 1 pound of vegetables. And then it goes over fruits, milk, cereal, eggs, chicken, pork, nuts, and then beef. Beef is the farthest one on the right. It takes 1,847 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of beef. In the Reducing Meat Consumption in Developed and Transition Countries to Counter Climate Change and Biodiversity Loss, Stoll, Kleeman, and Schmidt wrote in 2017, between 1960 and 2011, land use for animal agriculture expanded by 65%. If crops grown for animals were fed to humans instead, this could feed 4 billion additional people, which would meet the population growth that's going to be expected by 2050. Additionally, McConan and Hostra stated in their green, blue, and gray water footprint of farm animals and animal products in 2010, animal production requires large volumes of water for feed production, drinking water, and servicing animals. Devoting enormous amounts of water and amounts of fresh drinking water to produce feed such as cereal, starchy roots, fodder crops, and oilseed is squandering a vital natural resource. Meat production not only misuses resources, it also contributes to climate change and biodiversity loss. If you take a look here, I have an infographic as well. It states globally cows produce 115 gallons of methane per day. Methane has a global warming potential 86 times that of CO2 on a 20-year time frame. Stoll, Kleeman, and Schmidt also write that meat production is responsible for generating approximately 14.5% of total global greenhouse gas emissions, and a vegetarian diet could reduce emissions from food production by 55% per capita compared to the projected diet patterns in 2050. Also, Vergunst and Salvuessu wrote in the 5 ways the meat on your plate is killing the planet in 2017 that greenhouse gas emissions warm Earth's atmosphere and alter predicted weather patterns, resulting in floods, droughts, and heat waves. Additionally, Stoll, Kleeman, and Schmidt state that animal husbandry is responsible for 30% of global biodiversity loss, which contributes to deforestation, which equals loss of habitat. As dismal as those sound, there are individual choices that you can make to combat these problems, i.e. reducing meat consumption. Becoming a vegetarian is an option. I know that's probably not the desired for most people, but it's definitely a very good option just by simply restricting meat and fish from your diet. By doing so, your contribution to deforestation and climate change would decrease, as well as it would reduce your water footprint. If eradicating meat out of your diet is a hard sell, then I encourage you to restrict the amount of meat you consume and participate in movements such as Meatless Mondays, where no meat is consumed at all within that day. If you take a look here, I also have another image. Cattle grazing on public land threatens 14% of endangered animals and 33% of endangered plants. So choose vegetables. Problem summary. Eating meat is an unsustainable practice. It requires a substantial amount of water and land use, contributes to biodiversity loss, and climate change. Individual choices have an impact. Removing or reducing meat leads to several small changes, which contributes to a larger whole. In closing, Stoll, Kleeman, and Schmidt wrote, a dietary shift towards reduced meat consumption is an efficient strategy for countering biodiversity loss and climate change in regions where consumption is already at a very high level or rapidly expanding. So, in closing, try meat substitutions, visit local vegetarian or vegan restaurants, eat less meat. Thank you very much for your time. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday.